back in the jungle. Barry, it is great to have you on. Before we get into football and everything else, Barry, how are you doing right now? How is your life?
Hey, Jim, great to be with you, man. It's pretty good, man, considering the circumstances. You know, I can't complain. Great to be back with you today.
It's good to have you back, Barry. Always good to talk to you. You and I have done this so many times, and it's great to have you back. Who do you have on Sunday? Who do you have and why?
I think I'm leaning toward Chiefs, Jim, but I just love the matchup. You know, I've said this a couple of times, but I think about boxing and how you have two great fighters in one division. Eventually, they're going to clash in for all the marbles, and that's how I see Mahomes and Brady. I mean, the class of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Eventually, they're gonna meet up in for big games, and so they met up 2 years ago in the AFC Championship game. This year, they're on different sides of the bracket, so they get the chance to meet up in the Super Bowl. You can't discount the Bucs. You know, they went in and beat the Packers. You know, who a lot of people had penciled in as a favorite to go to the bowl. You know, but I just think I just think the Chiefs have a little too much firepower on offense. You know, if the weather holds up, I'm hearing it could be rain in the forecast, and that could change things. But for right now, I'll go with the Chiefs.
Well, I actually love that boxing analogy, Barry. And one more, we know styles make fights, so that's going to be a great one. Listen, let me start right here. You had a really nice tweet the other day, I thought, that read, quote, just wanted to send out a quick note thanking Matt Stafford and his family for all they've done for the team, the fans, and the city. End of quote. Barry, as somebody who represented the Lions in that city of Detroit for as long as you have, what do you make of the job that he did as the face of that franchise?
Oh, well, hey, look, man, I mean, the guy carried the team for a lot of years, you know, and he has so much good football left in him. We hate to see him go. We know that, you know, every day he comes to work, you know, and when you step on the field with him, then the guy's a difference maker, you know, he is. And so we hate to see him go. I guess it got to a point where both sides, you know, we're kind of ready to go to separate ways and what have you, and that's kind of how the new regime saw it. But the guy is just a flat-out player, man. You know, he has elite talent, and we saw that every day. And so you look at, you know, what the Rams have done over the last few years. I mean, they could be scary out there with him leading the team.
Hall of Famer Barry Sanders joining us. I appreciate those thoughts. I agree with you. Yeah, Barry, you mentioned the new regime. You were actually invited to serve as part of the advisory committee for the coaching search. What did it mean for you to get that invite, and what do you make of Dan Campbell as the new head coach?
No, it meant a lot for me to be involved in it. You know, I don't necessarily encourage people having their kneecaps bit off or anything like that, but I love you know, Coach Campbell's initial press conference, you know, just kind of putting the division on notice and other teams on notice that you know, that's his attitude and his mindset, and that's going to be the attitude and mindset of the team going forward. You know, that you know, people better look out, you know, because you know, and he's been around some winners, and he's seen, you know, how you build brick by brick, that whole process, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Barry, you know how it is. Brick by brick, kneecap by kneecap. You know how it is. You've been around the block, you know. Barry Sanders joining us. Listen, let me take a step back. I was recently talking to Derrick Henry, and he became the newest member, Barry, of the 2000 Club this year. As a member of that club yourself, how did it feel to welcome him in, and what do you think when you watch him run the way he does?
Oh, man, it's great to welcome Derrick in. You know, Jim, honestly, the last couple of years, you know, he's been the most dominant player outside of Patrick Mahomes and maybe Aaron Rodgers. He's been the most dominant offensive player. He put it on display again this year by going over 2,000 yards. You know, and you look how he's carried his team into the playoffs the last couple of years. I felt like they should have given him the ball 40 times this year against the Ravens. That's another story. But yeah, he very well could be a guy. The first guy to eclipse 2,000 yards twice in a career, or I'll say more than once, because he's definitely in his prime. You know, and so hopefully they'll give him the ball, but hopefully they'll give him the ball, and hopefully they're paying him whatever he deserves. Because, like I said, I believe he has been the top 3 dominant players, offensive players in the league, and the guy's future is bright, and I wouldn't be shocked to see the Titans, playing in the big game at some point if he stays healthy.
We're talking to Barry Sanders. Hey, Barry, as a quick follow to that, I think you make a great point. The fact that he's been a dominant offensive player along the lines of Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, but he's not getting that kind of respect, right? At least his name is not mentioned with those 3. As a running back, does that bother you, and should he get more respect?
Well, I think he certainly deserves more respect. I think he certainly should be right up there with Aaron Rodgers and who wins league MVP. And he should, and I'll just throw this third one in. He should certainly receive quarterback money. I don't know what he's being paid, but
I hear you.
But he's been that kind of player the last few years, and so he should be compensated for it. But yeah, the point is the guy is right up there with the best in the league, and he's going to be great for many years to come.
We're talking to Barry Sanders. Barry, now I talked to Sean Alexander the other day as well. I mean, you made putting up huge seasons as a back look pretty easy, but it takes a toll. It takes a toll on you physically. It takes a toll on you mentally. Sean was talking about how what he had to do to get his body to recover from a 300-carry season and then get ready for the next season. How were you able to do that? I mean, you averaged more than 300 carries per season over the course of your entire career. How were you able to bounce back year after year after year and maintain your body and your mind for that kind of grind?
It's tough. It's tough, but, for me, there was no greater privilege, I would say, than lining up in the NFL as a running back, as a top running back in the NFL, so I knew that I had to take great care of my body. I knew that, and as I got older, I learned better how to do that, just working out wise and diet wise and everything else. And a lot of things have to go right for you, and so I think there's luck involved as well, but yeah, if you look at how short the off season is now and how that's been that case for many years, you don't always get to heal up completely from the previous year, so you definitely have to be focused on and understand how to take care of your body throughout the week and things like that during the course of a season, and so some guys do it well because they prioritize those things, and you see the benefit of it. But what Sean was saying is absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, you get the ball that many times, it takes a toll, and so you really have to understand really how to take great care of yourself week in and week out so you can be there for your team.
Hall of Famer Barry Sanders joining us. Barry, I can't tell you how many running backs over the years have told me how much they admired you, how much they respected you, how much they studied you. I'm curious, when you were playing, were there other backs that you kept an eye on and tried to learn from, or did you just focus on yourself and your game?
Well, Jim, I'd be remiss, man, if I didn't go back to early days, and you would remember this. It seemed like as I was coming up, there were 2 teams that always had great running backs, colleges I'm talking about. My dad was a big Oklahoma Sooner fan, so every year they had great players. Joe Washington, Greg Pruitt, Billy Sims, David Overstreet. And then the USC Trojans always had great running backs. OJ, Anthony Davis, Charles White, Marcus Allen. I even learned about Mike Garrett as I got older. He was a little before my time. So I feel like I grew up just studying those 2 teams. And there's so many other great running backs that had an influence on me. But as I got into the league, it seems like it was always sort of me and Emmitt Smith going head to head as the league's top rusher. But then there were other guys. Marcus was still around, and obviously Bo Jackson's and Eric Dickerson's, and I know I'm leaving out a lot of names. But I always saw all those guys as competition, and it really helped motivate me.
All amazing backs. Very quickly, somebody recently tweeted at Nike to bring back the Barry Sanders Turf Trainer. That was a sweet, sweet shoe. What do you remember about that, and how happy would you be to see that come back?
No, you know what? For me, it's been a great, long-lasting relationship that I've had with Nike. They've released a shoe. The last couple of years, they did one for college when I to celebrate my 30th anniversary of winning the Heisman, and then we released one last year here in Detroit. You know, I guess it would have been 2019 Thanksgiving. You know, they released the shoe that I wore, and you know, hey Jim, I mean, for me, it's just one of the neatest things. Because obviously, you know, the kids get into it, and people who like collect shoes, and it just, you know, it just brings back sort of a relevance almost to your career. It's almost like when you're on a Madden video game, and it really almost reintroduces you to a whole new group of fans. You know, so for me, I'm just enjoying that relationship and enjoying the ride, and it's been a big treat for me when Nike's been able to do things like that.